What is up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome into the Sactown Sports Kings recap. Wow. Coming to you live after the Sacramento Kings get one of the funnest wins of the season, taking down the number one seed in the Western Conference in the Minnesota Timberwolves. What a game. What a freaking game that was. Overtime thriller without De'Aaron Fox in there. Domantas Sabonis fouls out in overtime. A lot of moments in which you kind of feel like things could potentially go bad. And, I think that this is definitely a win that we're going to look back on all season and just say, wow, why can't we see this team all of the time? What a game. What a performance from Malik Monk. He puts in 39 points tonight, which is, I believe, a season high for him. And, it was needed. I mean, with De'Aaron Fox not out there, this team kind of needed really big performances from guys like Malik and from Domantas Sabonis. But I think the big key for tonight was honestly there's a lot, but I think the fact that the Kings got really solid production out of their backup point guards, or out of their replacement point guards, that is. I guess that's not really much better, but out of Davion Mitchell and Keon Ellis, who got the surprise start tonight. To me, that really helped the Kings have control of this one. I think Minnesota's biggest lead tonight was 3 points. So the Kings really handled this one for a majority of tonight. They got a big lead early. I think they were up as much as 14 or 15 in the first quarter. We kind of expected that lead to eventually go away. But man, this team fought for the entirety of the game, and they stuck with it. There was great defensive intensity, which I think was a real big key to tonight's game. But the fact that Davion Mitchell had 15 points tonight, if I'm not mistaken, that's a season high for him. You had Keon Ellis get 4 steals tonight, and then I think he also got 6 assists as well. Finished with 7 assists. So just really good production out of your backup point guards. Davion finished with 16. He was 7 of 8 from the field. That's huge. That's really big. When your star point guard's not out there, you need Davion to have games like this. I don't think you can expect him every single night to have 15, 16 points when De'Aaron's not out there, but when he is scoring, it allows him to be on the floor more, and you get to feel his defensive impact a whole lot more. And absolutely, Street Coyote, big team effort tonight. Absolutely big team effort, collaborative effort from the guys. Everybody kind of had. Sorry, I'm looking at the stream here, and it looks like there is a good bit of lag. So sorry about that on the stream front. Still trying to kind of lock down this setup as I'm getting improvements to the studio here. But yeah, I thought it was a really big performance just from the entire club. A lot of people had moments. I mean, Trey Lyles, Katie mentioned it at the end of the game there. Even though his stat sheet doesn't look very impressive, finishes with 3 points, 1 of 3 from the field. Got some really big rebounds. We saw Trey Lyles at the 5. The fact that, that was kind of the thing that we unlocked last year against Minnesota was Trey Lyles being able to switch over to the 5 and pull a guy like Rudy Gobert out from the paint and put him more on the perimeter. Just in general tonight as well, the Kings did a fantastic job of really getting Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns in a lot of screen and roll and a lot of pick and rolls. I honestly thought that was key for Kevin Huerter. Got a lot of good looks tonight, but he wasn't able to execute. But the reason why he got so many good looks tonight was because they were putting Karl Anthony Towns in a lot of motion. And that's the thing that you have to do against a team like Minnesota. The fact that they run Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, and Naz Reid on the floor at the same time, you've got to use your forwards in those moments. You have to say, Harrison Barnes, you have a huge dude on you that you can you're more athletic than. Take advantage of that matchup. Oh wow, like you should absolutely expect big games from HB if this team does end up playing Minnesota in a series. I think that's going to be the key is them really exploiting Karl Anthony Towns on the defensive end and making Minnesota make the decision. Is it an overall win to be big? Because you saw moments where, that last offensive rebound where I believe Kevin Huerter goes over the back of Rudy Gobert. That was a moment where, because they had Cat on the floor, because they had Gobert out there, the Kings really just weren't able to match them once Sabonis got off the floor. And it's scary, but that's the advantage of being big, but you have to force some of the disadvantages to show. And of course, that the easiest way of doing that is just getting those guys to run around defensively and chase you around the perimeter. Yeah, Keon was huge tonight. 4 steals for Keon. 18 minutes. Overall was a plus minus of 0, which is fine. I think overall, if you're not losing those Keon minutes, I think that's great. The start of the game was awesome. There was definitely a moment where I was like, should this just be a solidified rotation with all of the starters but Keon, because they played so well. Keon got 2 steals just in that first rotation. You saw when he went to the bench, De'Aaron dapped him up, Mason Jones dapped him up. I thought that was a really cool moment just to see the guys really happy, like legitimately happy for Keon. And I hope we see him more. I definitely think, if he can consistently start knocking down threes, you see a guy like Jaden McDaniels have a career night tonight. If you can have Keon Ellis be like a smaller pocket version of Jaden McDaniels, that's huge for this team. They desperately need some perimeter defensive help. Keegan Murray, I thought, did a great job tonight when he was matched up against Anthony Edwards in the first half. That's a really tough assignment, but Ant was terrible in that first half. And of course, maybe he was thinking about the birth of his child all day, and maybe that's why he goes 2 of 11. But I'm going to give some credit to Keegan, because we've seen it enough times to know that Keegan played a hand in it. And, that's another guy that you can add to the list. Luka Doncic, Donovan Mitchell, and now Anthony Edwards on the list of guys that Keegan Murray has just completely shut down. So that was another major positive. And just in general, I mean, with the Kings especially being in this 7-8 seed and Minnesota being in the 1 seed and possibly being in the 2 seed as well, if OKC picks up a win this weekend, this was really big for the Kings' confidence. They're now 2-1 against Minnesota this year. I don't think they play again. I could be wrong. But to feel like if you were to go into a series against these guys, that you have a chance, because tonight was the most playoff-like environment in terms of game plan that I've seen out of this team all season long. Mike Brown was hunting those mismatches defensively. Yeah, he was trying to get Rudy Gobert out on the perimeter at the end of that game. You saw Malik Monk get Rudy Gobert switched onto him a couple times late in that fourth quarter. Malik, a little bit of ball hogging at that point, to be honest. But when De'Aaron's not out there, I think Sabonis might have been fouled out at that point. It's pretty much all in Malik Monk's hands anyway. So I didn't love it, but at the end of the day, I definitely understood it. Wow, hold on, we gotta light this beam, y'all. Oh, wait, is it dead? Oh no, there we go. It's not dead. The beam is lit. But yeah, I thought definitely was just really impressed overall with this team today, with this win. And I think the problem is, unfortunately, I talked about it earlier on the radio today. Great win, fantastic. Not much from a negative side that you can really point to. But do I think that the Kings let me finish this statement. Do I think that the Kings are right back to where they left off before they went on this little 2-game losing streak? No, I can't get there. I will not get there with this team until they show it on a consistent basis. Saying that, Now that the Kings are through this gauntlet of Clippers, Heat, Nuggets, Timberwolves, the schedule lightens up tremendously. And there is a wide opportunity for the Kings to really stack up some wins here in a very, very important stretch of the season. Just to read these next couple games in March, the Kings don't play again until Monday. They play the Chicago Bulls, who are I believe the Bulls aren't even in the Eastern Conference play-in situation. I think they're on the outside looking in, if I'm not mistaken. I know Atlanta is the 10 seed. Chicago is the 9 seed right now in the Western Conference. They're 3 games below 500. That's a game the Kings need to win at this point, especially after going up against this gauntlet. The Chicago Bulls should feel like you're playing a junior varsity team. So Kings need to take advantage of Chicago. They then have the Lakers, who are the 10 seed right now in the Western Conference, or 9 seed actually. They play Houston, who's on the outside looking in. They play the Bucks, who the Kings owe the Bucks a lot. I mean, from that last game where Damian Lillard hits the game winner, but also just in general, the Kings haven't beaten the Bucks, I think, in their last 14 games played or something crazy like that. It'd be nice for the Kings to get that win. Then they play the Lakers again, the New York Knicks, the Grizzlies, the Raptors, the Wizards, the Magic, and then end the month a little bit more difficult, but 76ers probably without Joel Embiid, a back-to-back against the Dallas Mavericks, and then end the month of March against the Utah Jazz. There's a lot of winnable games, and I didn't even mention the fact that only 3 of those games are on the road. So a lot of home games against easier competition. This is the Kings, for all my Mario Kart fans out there. I don't know why I said it like Mario Kart. Anyways, for all my Mario Kart fans out there, this is like the rainbow strip, the speed strip that you can, you go way faster, or you can launch off jumps with. That's what this part of the schedule needs to be. The Kings, realistically, I think there's 12 games in the month of March. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 games in the month of March. I think the Kings need to go 12-3, 11-4, I guess. But realistically, they need to be smashing these. They need to be knocking these out of the park. You look at the rest of the Western Conference. If that sounds crazy to you, just look at the teams that are surrounding the Kings and look at their record in the last 10 games. The Lakers are 7-3. Warriors are 8-2. Mavericks are 7-3. The Pelicans are 6-4. The Suns are 7-3. All of those teams are winning a ton of games right now, and they're probably going to start sliding here sometime soon. The Kings need to take advantage and try and get some clearance, man. They are now in the 7 seed in the West. They move up a half game over the Dallas Mavericks. They're now a full game back of the Pelicans and the Suns, who are both tied for the 5 and 6 seed. There's a real chance that if the Kings go, like I said, if they can go 12-3, 11-4, they can realistically have the number 5 slot to themselves and have a couple games of clearance before things get tough in the month of April. The month of April is brutal. On the road against the Knicks, on the road against the Celtics, on the road against the Nets, on the road against the Thunder, come home for the Pelicans, the Suns, and then close the season with the Blazers. That's like, there's realistically like 4 or 5 losses potentially in that stretch. The Kings need to build as much cushion as possible and just hope that the end of this season does not come down to those last couple games where they absolutely need to win it. But tonight was definitely a step in the right direction in terms of getting this month of March off to a great start. They can really have potential to have a sick record here in March and, really propel them heading into the playoffs. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Let's just go down. We can honestly just go down the entire game chart or box score and single people out for their performance tonight. HB 6 of 12. Love to see that. 14 points. Everybody stepping up without De'Aaron in there. I think I see 5 players in double figures for Sacramento tonight. You need that kind of stuff. You absolutely need that kind of stuff when De'Aaron's not out there. HB 14 points. He was a +2. I mentioned, earlier. He hit some clutch shots. He hit 2 really, really clutch shots. One kind of pushed Mike Conley off of him and hit a leaning shot around the free throw line in the fourth quarter. That was huge. And then hit a big three. It might have been I can't remember. It was a big, big three that he hit at the end of the game too. You need that out of HB. You need that kind of composure. Malik is really the only other guy besides De'Aaron that has really big moments in him. Great to kind of see that a guy that you wouldn't really expect to be able to be comfortable in those moments. HB just kind of step up and calmly knock down those shots. He did miss 2 free throws, which I can't give him too much flack for because so did everybody else. Malik, I'm looking at you too. That was terrible down the stretch. We'll talk about that later, but really good performance out of HB. Keegan, same thing. He had a really similar game to HB, 7 of 15, 17 points, 1 of 3 from 3. He got to the line, went 2 of 2, 5 boards, 2 steals and a block for Keegan. Really solid game. I mentioned his defense on Anthony Edwards. To me, that was the biggest thing I was looking for Keegan today was his defense. I saw Sabonis talk to him a couple times and kind of hit him on the chest. I feel like he might have been pushing him again to, much like we were talking about on Wednesday against Denver, just kind of be more aggressive, look for yours a bit more. Keegan, don't like to see him kind of do what I've criticized HB for doing in the past and just kind of fading into the background. I that would be my one criticism of Keegan today, but overall, did what I was hoping to see. I mentioned him locking down Anthony Edwards for a majority of that first half. That was great stuff from Keegan and just continuing to show his development and not having the length of Minnesota bother him really much at all. I thought was big for Keegan. Domas, 15 rebounds, 21 points, 8 assists. I think he had 3 turnovers tonight. Only 1 turnover tonight, 3 blocks tonight. Had 1 nasty one on Anthony Edwards that he blocked out of bounds. Sabonis, just a typical lunch pail game. Honestly, was the most aggressive. I've seen him look for his shot to start this one, which I thought was great because, again, without De'Aaron, like Sabonis is the star on this team. He's got to step up. He's got to be big in those games, and he was really, really aggressive to start this one. I thought he was going to have I thought really there was a potential for him to have a 35-point game, but Malik kind of took over down the stretch, and I think that was kind of necessary. I mean, you need a guard to kind of take over if you're realistically gonna be putting up a ton of points, and Malik definitely took that over and didn't look back. Kevin Huerter's really the only one that I feel like you could say probably had a bad game tonight. 8 points. He was 3 of 12, 2 of 7. Missed some shots that I feel like you got to have. There was a couple threes where he had an open look, kind of waited for the defender to fly by and then took a little sidestep 3. I get it. It's a little bit more in rhythm, but at the same time, I would like to see him just be ready to take that initial shot, have his feet set and just kind of let that thing fly. I don't know if anyone saw the Lakers played. I cannot remember who they played the other night, but LeBron kind of found, I think it was the Clippers. It was a Clipper game. LeBron found D'Angelo Russell in the corner, and we've seen HB actually do this quite a few times where he didn't even bring it down. He was already in his shooting pocket pretty much. The ball lands and he just flicks it up. I think Kevin's got to be able to add that to his game. We've talked earlier in this year about, was there a hitch in his jumper? He does have kind of a bit of a flick of the wrist, if you will, that kind of might prevent him from being able to put up those kind of shots just because there is a bit of mechanics, I guess, in Kevin's jumper that can't really be trimmed. But just definitely something I noticed tonight was just his not unwillingness, but just a couple obvious moments where I thought he should have been ready to pull off a spot up and ended up taking that little crab dribble, a little dribble off to the side and step back. Didn't really love it, but if he was really the only one that I would say, and even then he finishes with a +2 in the box minus. If you're into that kind of stuff, Keon talked about him, 7 assists tonight. That's honestly, that might be the best individual number for the night. I mean, besides Malik's 39 points, I think Keon having 7 assists is, I don't think I would have even guessed that he was capable of doing something like that. Even if that's not, the traditional, playmaking, oh yeah, nice little pocket pass or finding a cutter or something like that. Just him moving the ball like that, I think is huge. That's really what he's out there to do. You notice he's not super aggressive looking for his shot. There's probably a couple moments where you're like, Keon, shoot the ball. But I think he understands better than anybody. He's probably not the best option out there, and only really take it if you're wide open and the play seems to naturally come to you. But man, he's really, really patient. 7 assists tonight, 4 steals. Really big game out of Keon. Definitely expect to see a lot more out of him. Davion Mitchell, 7 of 8 tonight. The big thing for me for Davion for his game, 7 of 8, 16 points, 0 of 1 from 3. The fact that he has kind of understood now, look, I'm sure he even heard it throughout the draft process. You're going to have to hit threes. You're going to have to hit threes. He doesn't really use his speed much. He's really, really quick off the ball. He's a smaller guy, so it makes sense that, he's got a first quick step, a lot quicker than a lot of these big guys, and he just doesn't really take advantage of that much. And so I thought it was really good. It's been good to see him. He did it one time in the Denver game as well. Just take it to the rack, man. Just take it to the hole, use your speed, and try and beat him to the cup. And he did that multiple times tonight. And it seems like he might have figured something out there. So again, when Davion scores, it allows him to play more. And I think that's really the way that you feel Davion Mitchell the most, is when he's able to play. Tonight he plays 25 minutes. When you're able to give him some legs to work with, a little bit of breathing room, so it doesn't feel like he has to make an impact in 3 minutes or else there's nothing there. Like, give him some time and let opportunities present themselves for plays to be made, and Davion will make them. So love to see Davion's offense kind of coming along. Trey talked about him earlier. Duarte, honestly don't remember Duarte's minutes tonight. Interesting that he pretty much goes from having the best game he's had all season as a King to 6 minutes and pretty much back to DNPs. Alex Len had a nice little stint, 5 minutes, 4 points, 2 rebounds. I think he got a block in there as well. Love Alex Len's minutes. I understand, and I actually do like that they didn't go back to Alex. I thought going to Trey was the thing that I wanted to see going into this game. I think it was good to see that Alex does work out there, but at the end of the day, I think I wanted an answer to, can Trey Lyles at the 5 be an actual answer more than, hey, can we survive with Alex Len out there? I think that the fact that we got the answer that, yes, Trey Lyles does work at the 5 against this team, I think that's much more important. But still, nonetheless, great game from Alex Len. And then let's do it. Let's talk about Malik Monk. 39 points. The thing that really set him off tonight, y'all, was the Rudy Gobert bump. He bumped him. I took a video of it. I believe it was with about 2 minutes to go in the game. And yeah, it was 2 minutes and 23 seconds. 2 minutes and 20 seconds, Rudy Gobert scores. From that point on, Malik Monk went crazy. He had 7 points, Malik did. 7 points with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the third quarter. He finished with 39. Rudy Gobert effed around and found out. 32 points in 2 minutes of the third quarter, the entire fourth quarter, in the overtime period for Malik. Incredible. That's a De'Aaron Fox impression at its finest. The clutch player of the year. Man, what a crazy, crazy game for Malik. It looked like it was not going to be his night either. I don't have the first half box score yet. Man, sorry, I don't know if y'all hear that or not, but I have the NBC on still from the game. I just kind of ran in here. The music that they play when the broadcast is over is so loud. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but it sounds like there's a freaking orchestra in my living room right now. Oh my gosh. Sorry, that really threw me off. But yeah, in the first half, Malik Monk had 4 points. He had 4 points in the first half and finished with 39. So he's a bad man. Don't upset this Kings team. That's the thing that a memo needs to be sent out to the league, man. We saw what Mad De'Aaron Fox looked like the other night against the Clippers. He went crazy, locked up James Harden. Now we've seen what Mad Monk looks like. It's like Mad Max, but it's much worse. It's much scarier. You don't want to upset this team. We saw the Clippers upset them last year, or kind of get their juices going last year. When this team's locked in, when they're focused, man, that's when they're at their best, and that's why I in the playoffs they really might screw around and make an upset and have an upset. They really might, because they step up to their competition, man. They really it makes sense. It makes sense. Like when you're locked in against these big opponents, and in the playoffs, every game you're going to be at 100%. You're not going to take a night off in the playoffs. The same way that we talk about them losing focus against the Hornets, against the Blazers, against the Pistons. You're not gonna lose focus or not be completely locked in heading into a game 3. There's just no way, unless things have already started to go bad. So, I think that it's interesting. This team has given me a lot to think about. They continue to have really good record against good opponents. It's confusing. It's really confusing. I'm kind of getting nervous again. I'm starting to get nervous about the hope that these guys are giving me. So we'll see. We'll see how this thing goes on Monday. They play the Chicago Bulls, who that really shouldn't be a problem again after playing the level of competition that the Kings have played here recently. The Bulls should feel like an easy one. They'll hopefully get De'Aaron Fox back. He'll have a really good amount of time off. This will be, I think, a full week off from when he last when he played and banged knees. Just got to be ready. I would love to say that they're ready to take off from here, but we've seen too many times this team will have one of their best performances of the season and then follow it up with an absolute stinker. So we'll just have to take this thing game by game, and maybe 4 or 5 games down the road we can reevaluate how much we trust this team. But for right now, wow. And Edward's telling me here, yeah, it's confusing. The OKC just lost to the Spurs. Is that true? Wow. Whoa. Okay. I thought you were talking about today, not today. Okay. I thought you were talking about today, but yes. Yeah, no, I mean, upsets happen every single night. It's anything can happen realistically. I mean, you're talking about yesterday, that Chet and Wemby game, of course. But yeah, things can happen overnight. The Kings don't play again all weekend long. Sunday is a huge game. If you are a Kings fan, watch basketball all day Sunday. You have the Dallas Mavericks, who are the 8 seed. They're playing the Philadelphia 76ers at 10 o'clock. You have the Warriors and the Boston Celtics. The Warriors are obviously the 10 seed in the West. I think I just said Dallas is the 10 seed. They're the 8 seed. Warriors are the 10 seed in the West. They play at 12:30 against the Celtics. Clippers and Timberwolves, that's the 1 versus the 4 seed. They're playing at 12:30. That has huge playoff implications in general. And then OKC, the number 2 seed, is playing the Phoenix Suns, the 5 seed. Again, remember, the Kings are only 1 game back of the Phoenix Suns and the Pelicans for that 5-6 seed. So there is a huge weekend of basketball. Even though the Kings don't play, there is still tons of action to watch and tons of really, really important games when it comes to this standings watch. We'll talk about it all on Monday after the Kings hopefully take down the Chicago Bulls. I'm going to go check out the Beam. I hope everyone has a terrific weekend and enjoys this one because, man, this one was fun to have without De'Aaron Fox. Malik Monk has his best game of the season, winning in overtime over the Minnesota Timberwolves without Domantas Sabonis in overtime. He fouls out. Terrific game. What a night. Enjoy it and light the Beam.